Hi, this is Julien Stoutt, licensed personal trainer, licensed PE teacher, and world record powerlifter, here to help you be the best you. Now, one of the things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, being a high school PE teacher, is the ironic issue of vaping, right? And tale as old as time, from back when you, I, or if you are older than I am, smoking in the bathroom is now turned into vaping in the bathroom. And one of the biggest myths right now is that vaping is better than smoking, right? And I will admit, in some cases, especially financially, it could be better, especially with the fact that, cigarettes are like $10 a pack right now, or $8 a pack, depending on where you live. And that's not even with the cost of inflation. The thing is that you don't know what is in your vape. You only know what they tell you. And the thing that they tell you is not always the entire truth. So first and foremost, the thing that you need to understand is that, number one, vaping costs you roughly $35 per vape pen, and then anywhere between $19 to $20 for each refillable cartridge, right? And even the vape pen actually dies out eventually, right? So what I'm going to show you here is a picture of what is going on here. So what I'm going to show you is this screen. So what you're going to see here is the cost of vaping per month. And with that, you can see here that open pod mods are replaced, 2 replacement pods per week at $10 per week. So you're looking at roughly about anywhere almost $40, right? Almost $20 a week. So you're looking at close to $80 every month. Anywhere between $74 to $84 a month. If you're using a Cigalike, one of the e-cigarettes that looks like a cigarette, $103 to $122 a month. You can see this for yourself, so I'm going to let you read this for a minute. But in that process, what you're looking at is that you have an opportunity to see that this is what it's costing you. And yes, at the bottom, it showed you how much a pack of cigarettes a day will cost you, anywhere between $174 a month to $424 a month, which is really expensive, right? Yes, vaping is cheaper. However, you're still talking about thousands of dollars, right? Hundreds of dollars, anywhere between, so let's say $80. Let's use $84 to $152 a month. So at $100 a month, you're talking about $1,200, and then at another $600, you're talking about $1,800 a year for vaping with a closed pod mod. And if you're talking about $80 on the cheapest end, you're talking about roughly, so you're looking at close to just over $1,000 on the cheap end. And that's still money that you could have done something else with. And to be honest with you, I have relatives that used cigarettes, and by the grace of God, they have quit, and I'm very proud of them for doing so. And they never turned to e-cigarettes at all. They've quit entirely, the whole gambit. Now, I also know some people that do vape that are people who matter to people in my life, and the thing is that they don't understand what's the cost of vaping. And I'm going to get into that here in a moment, because a lot of you don't know what is in your e-cigarettes. And until you do know that, you're just flying blind. First of all, let's think about it. You're inhaling vapor into your lungs that is not good, because you're literally filling your alveoli with fluid, and that's not the whole purpose of your lungs is to eliminate vapor out of your lungs, not put it into your lungs. Now, obviously, you're going to turn around and say, what about, Vicks Vapor Rub and the humidifiers? Why are you allowing that to be something and not something else? Well, considering that humidifiers are meant to moisturize your lungs with water, not just a random fluid that I'm going to get into shortly, but it's filling your lungs with water to help break up mucus, so that way you can actually expel it better. You're not putting yourself in harm's way by putting chemicals that aren't effective in removing fluid out of your lungs. You're actually putting fluid into your lungs. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to get into what's in an e-cigarette from the American Lung Association. And before anybody turns around and says anything against that, I mean, seriously, really? These are the people that try to save lives every year. So without further ado, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm looking at. So e-cigarettes, aka Juuls, and vape pens use batteries to heat up a special liquid into an aerosol that it uses inhale. It is not just harmless water vapor. It's not, because if it was just water vapor, it wouldn't be a problem, because your lungs emits water vapor. The e-juice that fills the cartridges usually contains nicotine, which is extracted from tobacco. Propylene glycol is the main fluid in your e-juice, and other flavorings and other chemicals. Studies have found that even e-cigarettes claiming to be nicotine-free contain trace amounts of nicotine to get you addicted and to get your thousands of dollars every year for the rest of all time in perpetuity throughout the whole known universe. So additionally, when e-liquids heat up, more toxic chemicals are formed. So what you're not understanding is that also, yes, propylene glycol may not be as toxic as the things that were found in cigarettes initially, but just like cigarettes, when you burn it or when you heat it up, the chemical compounds become something completely different than the propylene glycol that it originally was when they made the product. Because the FDA has not begun its review of any e-cigarettes or ingredients, nor has the FDA issued any standards on the products, e-cigarette composition and effects may vary. Again, it's not regulated. So therefore, you don't know what's in it. Nicotine obviously is in it. Propylene glycol, a common food additive also used to make things like antifreeze, which kills people when ingested, paint solvent, and artificial smoke in fog machines. So, when the Undertaker is walking down the ramp and the whole ramp looks like he's walking through the valley of the shadow of death, guess what? Propylene glycol. All right. Carcinogens, chemicals known to cause cancer, including acetaldehyde and formaldehyde, the stuff that they put in dead bodies. Acrolein, a herbicide primarily used to kill weeds, can cause irreversible lung damage. Diacetyl, a chemical linked to a lung disease called bronchiolitis. Popcorn lung. So yeah, you're looking at getting popcorn lung, which is that's what you get from inhaling the vapors coming out of microwave popcorn when you eat so much of it on a regular basis, because the chemicals that they put inside the microwave popcorn heats up, and now you inhale it and causes popcorn lung, which is not good, by the way. Diethylene glycol, a toxic chemical used in antifreeze that is linked to lung disease. Heavy metals such as nickel and tin and lead. Oh yeah, lead works. So those, one of the biggest components of delayed brain development and permanent brain damage is lead. So you are inhaling a heavy metal that can cause you great mental illness in terms of your education and in terms of your ability to learn. Cadmium, a toxic metal found in traditional cigarettes that can be causes breathing problems and disease. Benzene, a volatile organic compound found in car exhaust. So again, you're inhaling car exhaust. Ultrafine particles that can be inhaled deep into the lungs. So there's a whole bunch of sources here in the American Lung Association, but there's also another thing that you can find out. There's another chemical that is found in your e-juice, by the way. So let's look at that real quick. What is in a vape pen? All right, let's look that up. Vegetable glycerin, right? Vegetable glycerin also is thicker in its consistency. So because of that, between those two things, you're finding yourself in a position where you're putting chemicals in your body that you're not aware of, because you thought that simply you knew that propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin is what is being used in your vape pen. You think that that is just simply safe to turn around and put in your body. But in turn, what ends up happening is when you heat it up, chemicals change. And as a result, chemicals change, and because it's not regulated, you can be adding a huge amount of stuff in your body that you're not aware of. So it is important for you to understand that not only is it costing you money in the short term of thousands of dollars every year, but it could cost you greatly financially in the long run when you realize or find out 20, 30, 40 years from now that your lungs are no longer functional and it is going to kill you, and you're going to do anything and everything in your power to try to stave off the Grim Reaper. So one of the things that I want you guys to understand is that it is time for you to be more healthier about the choices that you make. Instead of choosing something as detrimental as vaping, I want you guys to start choosing something a little bit more properly energy purposeful, to be able to put yourself in a better path to being healthy longer. Because one of the worst problems is that we're finding kids as young as 11 are vaping. I've seen them in middle schools when I taught there. I'm seeing it prevalent in high schools now. People thinking they're doing it because they're cool or because they think it's a stress reliever. Well, imagine how much more stressed you are going to be when you find out you have a lung disease that you ain't even ever heard of yet. Imagine the amount of stress you're going to feel when you suffer from emphysema because it just happens to be that, or is now known as COPD. I want you to imagine the detriment of your lack of performance because you are having a diminished lung capacity due to your willingness to put your body at risk. So I want you guys to not think of not only just yourself, but the people in your lives that matter and the future people in your lives that will matter. Because maybe not right now, but in the future, you might have not only children, but you might come across people that you might want to be able to call family for all time, in perpetuity, throughout the known universe. All right, so don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Have a nice day. Be the best you.